What's up, everybody? Bobby Fi here. No sheets today. Going to go through all my stuff really quickly. I'm going to probably be out of here around 3:20 because I've got some huge lineups to build. I'm playing the biggest baseball day I've played in probably like 10 months. So we're ready to get after it. We're ready to go nuts, and let's get into it. So obviously, it's a very spread out slate and a lot of ways to go. The team I have the most ownership of is Atlanta. The team that I have the next most ownership of are Blue Jays mixed with, oddly enough, mixed with Royals, and the odd one is the Giants. That's the one I'm going with. A pretty decent amount. My pitchers and fire on in questions and thoughts, and we'll get to it as quickly as we can. We'll talk a little NBA. Right now I have 20% Joe Ryan. That's probably going to go up. I have 20% Eric Lauer. That's probably going to go down. I have 35% Morton. I really feel I feel pretty decent about him. I think I might get a little more exposure there. I have 24% Blake Snell. That feels about right. 33% Griffin Canning, maybe a little higher by the time it's done. 16% Steele, 22% Cortez, and I do have 25% of Brady Singer as my get weird pitcher. I understand that the advanced numbers look way off. I just want to point out that the matchups have been no picnic at all for him. And he's getting hit really hard. Outside of the last start and his first start, the walks have actually been pretty solid. And the strikeout numbers per inning are actually fine. So it's really a matter of, if we're going to gamble on guys like Mason Miller, why aren't we playing Brady Singer some at 1,500 more? I actually do like the Mason Miller idea for what it's worth. But I haven't gotten to him in my big buy-ins. I do think I will get to him in some of my smaller buy-ins. But again, Atlanta, Toronto, the KC Arizona game in general, and the Giants are my focus. And then Milwaukee, I like, and I want more Mets, but I'm not getting to them. And I'd like to get a little more Angels, but I'm just don't have enough lineups, and I want to stay focused. Hey, K9, good to see you, man. Say what's up when you get on in here. But those are the orders for my pitchers. Going by catcher really quick, I have 20% Contreras, 33% Salvador Perez, 18% Melendez, 22% Murphy. Now, of course, those are all subject to change because we don't know if Melendez is playing. That's a big one. First base, Lamont Wade from the Giants is a cheap option. Vogelbach from the Mets is a cheap option. Matt Olson and Guerrero, along with Alonso, would be my favorite spend-ups. Second base, Turing in my Milwaukee stacks, Massey in KC stacks, or even separately because he's so cheap. Luis Garcia as a one-off because he's 2,600 and he's batting, what is he batting today? Second against Butto. And then I have Ozzie Albies, a good percentage of him. Brian Anderson at third base in the stacks of Milwaukee. Austin Riley is my most owned, along with Chapman just behind him, and Brett Beatty in your Met stacks. I also think you can use at short or at third either Bobby Witt or Brett Beatty. So shortstop, Willy Adames. Nicky Lopez in Royal stacks only because he's so cheap, and it would have to be some form of a stack for me to get there because he doesn't do much else. Bo Bichette, Tommy Edman is a fine one-off, and Vaughn Grissom in your Atlanta stacks. I'm actually going to make a note here to get more Grissom. Outfielders, 20% Jock Peterson, 55% Acuna. I'm probably going to end up with like 40% Acuna, but I'm playing a lot of them. Yastrzemski at 20%. Jesse Winker at 20%, Varsho at 30%, George Springer at 20%, Ruiz at 15%, Hilliard at 20%, excuse me, Rosario at 30%, Haniger at 20%, Yastrzemski at 20%, Corbin Carroll at 15%. Those are mostly my outfielders. So that's a little bit of a rundown of what I'm doing as of right now. I'm going to change some things up. Miller and single entry. I think there's plenty of ways to get to Atlanta stacks without using Mason Miller, but I am fine with taking a shot on him. I'm not personally doing it much, so I can't say in single entry because in all of my highest buy-ins and single entries, he's not currently in any. He may end up in one of my 250s, my secondary to the 1,500 today. But I don't love it, to be honest with you, but I'm okay with taking a shot at it. It just feels like the wrong thing to do in single entry. And people keep saying to move up to get the Braves. Just want to point out that the guys for the Braves who went nuts yesterday. I mean, you have Hilliard, who was 30, who's 28. What is he today? He was 2,200 yesterday. He's 300 today, 2,500. Hilliard, Eddie Rosario. You have plenty of cheap Braves, and then I love Vaughn Grissom at short. So I don't think that this Brave thing, like, you don't have to specifically stack Murphy, Olsen, Albies, Riley, and Acuna. It's just really hard to get that exact combination in. It's not hard to get them in the other ways as much as you'd think, but it is a little bit tricky. So that's where I stand on that one. I also think that if you're going to use Mason Miller, you should also be just as interested in guys like Butto or Turnbull. None of them are awesome standouts, but I do think that those other guys are pretty similar. Favorite stacks on FanDuel. I have more Mets on FanDuel, and I have Mets with the Braves a lot on FanDuel, which I feel like feels pretty easy and probably going to be a little bit too chalky. And then I get to KC in Arizona, along with San Francisco. So basically the same stacks. I do vary my stacks a little bit, but I actually don't like when guys make more sense on FanDuel, I tend to pivot to the guys who make less sense. So like Chapman, who's way higher price percentage of stack wise on FanDuel, I'm actually playing more Chapman on FanDuel than I am on DraftKings, specifically because it's harder to get him in. That's the way I try to treat that. Guys like Ohtani and Trout, where they'll be harder to get in on DraftKings, on FanDuel, they're much easier to get in. So I would try to get those on DraftKings. Again, as Rhody's saying, I don't agree that you need to use 2 cheap pitchers to get to Atlanta. I have an Atlanta stack with Steele and Cortez. So I'm spending $20,000 on pitcher, and I have a full Atlanta stack. You don't need to dumpster dive. If you want to, it's totally a legitimate option on this kind of a slate, especially. But I don't think you have to. Yeah, and I get it, Rody. Because the top guys don't stand out today, it makes plenty of sense to go with the cheaper guys. But if you're going to be playing the cheaper guys, you should be thinking about Griffin Canning, like the guys who have a real leash and who are actually real pitchers. Griffin Canning and at 6,400 and the 7,200 price of the unowned Brady Singer are just as appealing, if not more. Actually, they're more appealing to me than the dumpster diving. You don't need to get the 5 big ones. That's the thing I was trying to say to people. I actually think it's kind of a mistake to only play the 5 big Atlanta bats. I mean, their best producer of fantasy points, I have this right? Like, Hilliard is, I mean, look at his numbers. Like, yeah, sure, some games against lefties he doesn't start, but you don't want to bring in lefties against Atlanta in general. So every time he starts, he tends to get there. Coming off of a 2-run home run game, obviously it feels like easier to say that, but the guy's been a pretty consistent fantasy producer all year long. He does have speed and power upside. As we saw yesterday, he stole another base along with the 2 home runs. So there are plenty of ways to get to it that you may not want. And also, like, Vaughn Grissom he's going to be every bit as good as the top guys very, very soon as a hitter. That's my personal take. So that's where I'm at. But if you wanted to do that, I do get it. Like, I just don't think I'm going to do it in the 1,500 buy-in personally, the double spend down. But I certainly don't mind it. The slate actually speaks to it a little bit. So I'm totally cool if you want to do that. I'm kind of nervous to not have Barrios in any of my main builds right now. 4 big lineups in there for me and no Barrios. I do have Barrios on FanDuel, and I do have him on DraftKings and on some other spots, but I only have 10% of them right now, and I feel like maybe I'm overthinking it by being worried. But I think there are some underlying things to be worried about a little bit. It's just hard against this White Sox team not to have interest, and I'm a little. That's where I feel like I'm going back and forth the most on. I'm trying to figure that one out. So my lineups certainly are subject to change, the ones that I have right now, because not everything is quite fitting in. We also don't have lineups for the later games yet. Hopefully we can get. Arizona was kind enough to release their lineup already. Hopefully we can get a KC lineup soon. Hopefully we can get a Giants lineup soon. They drive me nuts because they're always late, which also is going to make them even lower on, which they already were going to be. We also would love an Oakland lineup as well, because where you're not playing Canning, I think Oakland is another way that helps you get to you can use to help you get to the Braves, the Blue Jays, things like that. Oh, nice. Which lineup in the background? I don't know which one we're talking about, but nice. Royals is out. I didn't get it yet, so I'm going to take a quick look at the Royals lineup. Kind of surprised the respect that they're giving Nelson here. Am I crazy to give it? I just don't understand it exactly. Like he's like a 4.4 run total seems low in the Sun in Arizona. I would have thought that this game would be like a pick 'em, and you've got the Diamondbacks at 140 minus 142. Kind of interesting. Hit the like button, guys. Guys, we really appreciate it if you do. I don't have the Royals lineup, so if someone can do me a favor and maybe show me what it is, because I'm looking at MLB.com, and for some reason I don't have the Royals lineup even on MLB.com. So let me double check and see if I haven't gotten an alert on my brand new cell phone. I had to go up change all my stuff because DraftKings sent me the Apple package. So I got the new computer, the new iPad, the new watch, the new phone, the new AirPods, all that nonsense. Anybody with a possibility of, let's see, anybody want to tell me what the Royals lineup is, because I am not seeing it out there. So that's kind of a big piece of information that I need today, because guys like Massey make things work. Guys like both Melendez and Witt are very interesting to me. Whether Isbell, where is he hitting? Like I don't know what's happening. So I need a Royals lineup. I'm going to try and go to MLB.com for lineups. In Discord, Rhodey's saying, I must be talking about something else. Rhodey, appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. So we've got Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, Olivares, Massey, Reyes, Isbell, Dozier, Lopez. Yikes. That is not the A+ lineup. So no Melendez. That's the big deal. I've got to get Melendez out of there. Massey is a good guy to like because, but again, remember there's definitely some platoon possibilities for him. Thanks, Forrest, too. I appreciate it. I saw Rhodey's in Discord posting it. Appreciate that, man. No Melendez means I have to go make some changes. So I really liked the Royals a lot more better before, where I could play Melendez and Perez together. That's probably going to make me a little bit less on the Royals. However, like Olivares, really, really strong play, especially starting against a righty. That means that you feel good about him not getting pinch hit for. Although everybody can get pinch hit for Melendez, depending on the game situation. Pasquantino, all of the top five, and then you've got the cheapos after that. So I kind of am okay with all the guys, and it makes sense. It's just hard to imagine that exact lineup winning you all the money today, but I do think that maybe they're more of a complimentary stack for me. I said I've got 25% Blake Snell, and I feel very mixed about it. I actually think I'm going to end up with more Steele than Snell, but look, it's great pitching weather in Chicago. And it's hard not to have interest in Snell, but I do have interest in Steele on the other side of that game as well, even though it makes me a little bit nervous with these Padres. But they did put 4 lefties in the lineup against Steele, which feels like, outside of Soto, probably 3 strikeouts of maybe per inning. No, not really. Per inning off of just the lefties. They have 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's going to be it's tough to hit Steele anyway. Boy, yeah, they're gonna have a little bit of a challenge ahead of them. Baez and Haas mini stack, absolutely no problem with it. Nothing I'm doing, but absolutely no problem with it, to answer that question. I'm gonna jump over to basketball, which is again a little bit smaller of a slate, and just see what I've got going and what I like so far. I'm gonna actually plan on doing my basketball lineups after the main slate locks. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, it's crazy now he's become the chalk because, and I love him anyway, but we know Kyle Anderson opens things up, has me, basically my spend ups are Anthony Edwards, Chris Paul, and Westbrook. And then I like Bogdanovich. I think everybody on Atlanta gets a boost without Murray, so I'm actually bumping up John Collins. I think they trap Trey a lot here and make the other guys beat him, and I'm calling a John Collins breakout game. I almost really nailed it with the Capella breakout game, just couldn't quite get there a few games back. Other guys like Horford and Conley fit in the mid-range. That's sort of a little list of who I'm liking. And if I had to pick a situation to stack here, I think that I would try to stack and pray with the Clippers at Phoenix. But again, it's kind of tough to. Every one of these games has extreme blowout risk, and I would just be aware of that. now at the same time, it's not going to matter in terms of how much the guys play, because even in blowout, it'll matter how much the team that's at home that's up 3-1 is going to play, but it won't matter for the Minnesotas, Clippers, and Atlanta because their season's over if they lose. So they're going to play those guys minutes unless they're down 40 pretty much the whole game. All right, Giants lineup is out. Oh, let's see what the Giants have got going. That's going to be a fun one. All right, Giants have Lamont Wade, Conforto, J.D. Davis, Jock, Yastrzemski, Estrada, Crawford, Samuel. I actually like that Giants lineup personally. I mean, I'm in on the Giants a little bit today, guys. I'm really starting to talk myself into there. Are we overthinking ourselves and maybe the Giants end up a little more popular than we think? Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think they end up with much real ownership. Certainly if the lineup came out 40 minutes from now, we would have had like no ownership on it. But I still think it's going to be pretty low owned. And it's funny because if this game was like, let's just say this game was at a good hitter's park, the Giants would have like the highest total on the slate. Just because it's in San Francisco. These guys play in San Francisco, by the way. So they hit the ball in San Francisco. Jock Peterson can hit home runs on anywhere. As can Conforto, Yastrzemski. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Oh, we didn't get my guy in. No Mitch Haniger. That's a huge deal for a number of reasons. All of the lefties are in danger unless the Giants are up like 8-0. That means that Conforto, you probably get Haniger in the game at some point, probably for Lamont Wade, Conforto, Jock, or Yastrzemski. Jock and Wade being the most likely that you would get you might lose some at bats. So just be aware of that one. Maybe you want to get a little bit more exposure to J.D. Davis than I initially did. I've always liked J.D. Davis, just felt like he never really came into his own, but he certainly has been booming this year. And at 6 extra base hits and 39 at bats, you got to like that. And the 4 home runs, of course, 1 per 9 at bats. How can you not like that? Any thought on the Giants pitcher? There's no real Giants pitcher. It's a bullpen game. So I'm not playing anybody on the Giants pitching. Like, it's a bullpen game with Junis. You could do it, but it just makes no sense to do it. Jock, for what it's worth, though, I do think Wade is the best value on the Giants. I think Jock has the best chance of hitting a home run of any Giant tonight. I think he's the most powerful one by a pretty decent margin. So that's just my warning. Both Jock and Lamont Wade are in my first build. So me and Rody, we'll battle it out with our Giants hopefully for 250K. All right, guys, I'm probably going to get out of here pretty soon unless there's any more questions, because I really want to focus on this is a very big day. Want to remind everybody at 10 Eastern, we're going to do the live show with Scott McCarty. I'm going to make sure to set my alarm here so I can send Scott over the invite a little bit early. And we're going to do the roundtable and coaching session with me, Sheets, and him. And we'll be doing this like every month. Tell me what you guys think. Watch it on YouTube after. It's good in terms of going through process, talking through his process, and just figuring out what we like to do. So anyway, that's where we're at. I'm just taking a quick look here. I want to make sure to get my alarm set. And, I haven't worn a watch in like 15 years. It feels really weird. Maybe longer, actually. All right. So we want, and this is the night where, because I'm playing such big buy-ins, I'm going to be checking lineups before everything. I'm going to be late swapping and doing all that crazy stuff. Let's go, Forrest. I hope so, buddy. Hey, man, if it's not me, Sheets, if it's not any site people, I hope it's you. I really do. You would be my next pick if it wasn't going to be any of our site guys. Yeah, Kuba, you can definitely watch it the next day. And again, you guys are welcome to do it. Yeah, we're going to do the coaching live. Please don't DM me during the show. It's hard for me to focus as it is, but it's totally fine. We're going to do the thing live tonight, but we're also going to have it saved for recording, which is what we've been doing, because people do come in with interesting questions and thoughts, and we want to give that opportunity. We're also going to be doing the 11 Eastern live sweats. So live sweat show. So hopefully that'll be talking about how one of us is trying to win $1 million. So that's sort of what we're hoping for. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here if there's nothing else to get to. I'm going to retitle this because I got it wrong. It was live before lock, but please feel free to weigh in on any other questions or anything. I have to go shortly, but I did want to make sure we covered if there was any other questions that you guys had. So I appreciate you all very much. Rody, thanks so much for maintaining everything, getting the awesome playbooks out and in the chat. Really been great in the Discord. Guys, if you're not doing it already, make sure to look at Goldie's picks every day. I'm sorry, Goldie's video every day, and then his projections, which are the aggregate projections throughout the entire industry. It's the only site that does that. If you guys really want the best of that stuff, I really suggest you sign up with us because it's a good idea. Anyway, good luck to all you guys. Let's crush it. And hopefully when we talk later, we'll be sweating a couple $100,000.